Hello, and welcome to the Exotic Trash Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Simcoe. And with Jimmy and I today, we have the Mr. Monsour, who is right beside me
No, that way.
this way. No, I've mirrored my screen, so he's this way.
Oh,
Hi, I'm back for another
He's
podcast.
back for another episode, and
Is this
today,
3 or 4?
yeah, this would be the third
the
one.
third one.
This would be your fourth time on because you did food review with us on pizza.
Food, cryptozoology.
Yeah, cryptozoology, slashers, and yeah, those are
Whatever.
the episodes of podcast you did. So our topic today is bad science in
science.
movies. So first, I would just like to start off with Jurassic Park, and start off with the Predators.
Well, I got a question for you, Joey.
Yeah.
Is Jurassic Park a Christmas movie? Does it fall in with like Lethal Weapon? You know how like people watch it during certain times of the year? Just wondering.
I thought that was Die Hard.
Yeah.
I
Die
said
Hard's a Christmas
I
movie.
think Lethal Weapon could fall into that too, but I just kind of wondered.
Really?
What are your thoughts? You're the cinema expert.
I don't think Jurassic Park takes place like in the Christmas season.
But I'm just wondering if because people would watch it maybe when they're at home. I'm just wondering.
I've personally never considered it a Christmas movie.
So you may just want to cut this whole bit out, right?
Maybe.
Well, it could take place around Christmas. It's on a tropic island. We wouldn't really get
Yeah,
much.
that's true. You wouldn't be able to tell.
It was actually filmed in Hawaii. Actually, it was really because. Anyways, I'm not trying to sidetrack it, but why did you pick Jurassic Park?
I chose Jurassic Park because, well, the dinosaurs that are typically
COVID.
predators are. Did you just say not COVID?
I said not COVID. You just got to preface these things sometimes.
Okay, but in Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs that are predators are made to be more terrifying, and also, it's evidence has been provided stating that you can't extract DNA from a mosquito frozen in amber 65 million years ago.
So when was the last time you guys watched Jurassic Park? I'm just kind of curious.
This
Give me a
summer, actually.
It's been probably 2 or 3 years, give or take.
I actually would show that in class back in the day when I showed movies, like once or twice, and then I realized all the science was bad and I stopped showing. Actually, there's that because there's actually the DNA that's represented in the movie is not represented correctly either. But we'll focus on dinosaurs, but some of the genetics, like to actually sequence the entire genome, not going to happen. But where do you want to start, Joey and Jimmy? This is your show. I'm just here for.
I kind of want to start with what's the worst example of science in Jurassic Park.
Well, okay, so the worst example, in my opinion, would be with the Velociraptor. So in the movies, Velociraptors are portrayed to be like 5 to 6 feet tall, and they're all like scaled up, and they just look like these giant bipedal lizards that could like just tear you apart. When in reality, the real Velociraptor was only 3 feet tall, covered in feathers, and ate smaller sources of prey as compared to like what they portrayed in Jurassic Park.
Well, if it's normally 3 feet tall, is it strange to assume that under like actual care it could get to be 6 foot tall? Because like a normal human is like 5 foot tall.
Yeah, but you got there's this argument about dinosaurs being warm-blooded or cold-blooded, but you think about like how large reptiles can really get a 6 foot. I mean, even the T-Rex was kind of probably exaggerated a bit, but because the Velociraptor, they do say it was a bit smaller. The one thing that Jack Horner, who was the gentleman who was like the dinosaur guy, so he works at the Museum of the Rockies out at Montana State. And he even talks about how Steven Spielberg presented him like the storyboard, and all the dinosaurs were like brown and gray. And Jack Horner will tell you that a lot of these dinosaurs had feathers. They were really colorful. And Steven Spielberg said, Technicolor feathered dinosaurs are not going to sell my film. So a lot of the imagery, all of the coloration of all those dinosaurs that are like shown in Jurassic Park are probably not accurate. So in terms of my opinion, and again, you know how I feel about opinions, just the overall description of the dinosaur in terms of coloration, and that they went to Hollywood Science Park. So
they had to make it more marketable.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be that scary if they were all feathered up.
And they were only 3 feet tall. At that point they'd just be ankle biters. They'd be like the equivalent of
Yeah.
a chihuahua, but dinosaurs.
3 feet isn't that small.
And what about the
Yeah,
one that,
it's
like, spit the venom?
oh,
The
Oh, with the
Dilophosaurus. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that
don't
one
even think it
actually.
had its those frills.
Well, and
oh,
that one, I think most paleontologists got the most bent out of shape about. If you read some of the paleontology blogs about Jurassic Park, they do exist. Was that they don't even think it's spit venom. Like, that was not accurate either in its coloration. But that's the one. Like, if you really want to get a paleontologist bent out of shape, start talking about that one.
You know
Uh,
what is really funny though? In like Jurassic Park video games, they have the Dilophosaurus come out and spit venom. So it's like they're just rubbing it in
you're gonna keep going
paleontologists'
with that
face.
bit.
Yeah, they're going to keep going with it.
well, and they also think that dinosaur may have been like a lot larger than they actually showed on film, and there's some evidence to suggest that dinosaur maybe was the largest land animal about 183 million years ago during the Jurassic period. And so there's a lot of
Wow.
yeah, because they found 5 skeletons of that, and they think it was much far bigger. But yeah, like I said, that's the one that people will really like get all bent out of shape
That's
about.
another thing I want to talk about. So, first off, the park is called Jurassic Park,
Yeah,
and we don't see most of the creatures that were from the Jurassic
Jurassic period.
era. They were mostly from the Cretaceous. Like, I'm pretty sure the only like one of the few dinosaurs that actually is from the Jurassic era is the Velociraptor. And it seems like everything else is like late Cretaceous or early Cretaceous. Luckily none in the Triassic cuz all those dinosaurs were lame.
for
None of the
what?
cool dinosaurs.
Well,
Cuz
I mean,
all the ones in the Triassic were small and lame.
well, as environments change, right? Got to fill in a new niche.
Right,
But
Some
and that's why dinosaurs got bigger.
yeah, well, but like I think if you talk about the TX, the T Rex,
T-X.
also a little exaggeration. So
Oh yeah, and since you brought up the T-Rex, let's talk about that real quick. Also misportrayed very poorly by scientists because, well, first off, they made the arms way too long on the T-Rex in the movie. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah, you can almost see that one.
like T-Rex's arm was legitimately about the length of your arm and that's including the claws at the end.
yeah, and they also say that T Rex was like pretty colorful, like a bird, and it would kind of
Yes.
like it was opportunistic scavenger, right? And so it would prefer to be a scavenger than chasing down prey. And it was possible like it would dance to attract its mates, and you probably wouldn't see that in the movie. But again,
Just a possum.
well, I don't know about a possum, but
A big one.
right, Jimmy? What are you going to pay a ticket to see? A bird that's dancing around that's all colorful, or something that's going to bite off your head?
A monstrous. Yeah. I guess bad science is you pretty much need it if you want to sell a movie because real science is only so cool.
Oh, ouch.
I mean, it's still pretty neat in a lot of aspects. Like space in real science is pretty cool, but a lot of animals aren't. Once you kind of learn about the biology of a lot of animals, you're like, man, these things are just terrible. They just don't.
Well,
They're
Well,
not
that's
right.
not true because T-Rex was still pretty cool. I mean,
Was it? Is a giant like colored bird?
first of all, the T Rex rocked a
yes.
mullet. All right, it had a mullet. If you look at a T Rex, it
I
had a
hope it
mullet
didn't.
of feathers on its head, neck, and tail. It was all business in the front, party in the back. So T Rex had a mullet, Kentucky waterfall, whatever you want to call it. So they think that the T Rex had a mullet. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty. All right, I stand corrected.
T-Rex
Science
is
has
a party
redeemed
man.
itself. Yeah.
Yep. And so I think people always forget those dinosaurs had feathers. So what other animal do you know that has a mullet?
Human. That's about
Well,
it.
And we just grow hair to do that.
Yeah. So I haven't seen Jurassic Park in a long time. If I remember correctly, they took the DNA out of the mosquito and amber and then put it in a chicken egg.
well, so what they did was they had which you'd never do this. They had like they had a segment of DNA, but it was missing pieces. So
Mm,
they took the DNA from a frog, which is already bad science because anybody with a basic understanding of biology knows that
it's not
frogs
gonna
have the
work.
ability. Cause I think the whole thing in the movie was that the reptile they had all what was it all female T Rexes at
Yeah,
first?
they had all female dinosaurs, and then the genes from
Yeah,
the frog were able to make males, and they
yeah,
were able to
because
actually reproduce
and
naturally.
they could have got into some of the idea about how the environmental effect, right, of the temperature or whatnot. But some animals in nature, like if there's a whole school of fish, they're all female. One will morph, or there's a proper term, not going to get into it, to act like the male. And so the idea was that they use this amphibian DNA to plug in the missing places,
Mm.
and then that's what allowed for these male T Rex um, to appear on the
Oh,
scene.
uh, by the way, did you know that throughout the series of Jurassic Park, they've had the same T Rex? Like, like it's been the same T Rex in
Like
every movie.
mechanically, like the
Yeah,
puppet.
but and like they like it's credited as the same T Rex. So
Really?
like yeah, what they're trying to say is like a T Rex can live over 30 years. I don't know how accurate that is.
And again, a lot of that's based on what evidence they have, but yeah.
I'd
So that, but
I'd imagine they could because you see a lot of reptiles that live to be like well, for tortoises, some can live to be
Yeah.
170 years old, but they're also not a tortoise because dinosaurs are their own thing. They're not reptiles. They're not birds. But yeah,
Maybe they're like lobsters that don't die unless you kill them.
well, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
sure,
maybe.
maybe.
I read that, and I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that
some
that sounds
animals
right.
they have if ideal environment, but with the bad science with the DNA though, was that what your question was, Jimmy?
Yeah, basically, was just like how wacky is that really?
I
Like,
mean,
is it?
so when the movie was made, the science now with CRISPR and stuff, they may be able to go in and plug in those pieces.
Yeah.
But to sequence an organism with a perfect genome, there is a whole science called resurrection science now, and so there
Mhm.
are people that are doing research into bringing back organisms that went extinct. I'm kind of on the I'm not a big fan of that because they went extinct for a
Yeah.
reason. So are you just bringing back animals like Jurassic Park to put on display when you saw how that turned out?
I don't
So
know.
yeah,
I'd
so
like to
there
own a
are.
pygmy mammoth.
What would you feed it?
Food.
So like their food source is gone. So, anyways, I'm like,
Yeah.
you're gonna bring back these things for what reason? How are they gonna
Yeah. Let
benefit?
dead animals lie.
Because they look cool.
They look cool. Yeah, saber tooth tiger till it rips off your face.
That'd be kind of cool.
Speaking of
Small
ripping
one.
off faces,
Oh,
right? T Rex also in the movie, its bite ability was exaggerated, and so like in Jurassic Park, they'd always show the T Rex like chomping down, right, shaking
yeah.
its victim side to side, but they said it fed more. They think it fed more like a Komodo dragon. If you ever seen those, where it would chomp down, bite real deep, and then pull straight back.
Yeah.
T Rex would not shake its head back and forth. So
Yeah,
I guess
they
that's
definitely
not
did that
Hollywood.
to add dramaticism into the kills. Because,
Yep.
like, if it's like a Komodo dragon, then realistically it's just going to snatch a human up and swallow it.
Yeah, and then also they were kind of slow. I don't think they ever got. They may have got up to like 10 to 25 miles per hour, but like
Yeah.
to reach the gate, you know what I mean. So that T Rex would not have been able to keep up with the Jeep in high gear. Just saying.
Did
Yeah,
they know
it
that
definitely would not
from
have.
like the bone formation of where muscles
Yeah. So if
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming like if you look at a skeleton of a T Rex, if you go to the American Museum of Natural History, has one. You go to the Cleveland Field or Chicago Field Museum, Museum of the Rockies, they have these T Rex. And looking at the hips and the legs, that
it just
system
couldn't move that quick with that
probably
little
not.
muscle.
And
Okay.
I'm just going to do a quick plug real quick. If you watch PBS Eons, they actually do a really good job of explaining like how they're able to find this evidence on these bone structures. Like if because some bone structures will actually have like some leftover tendons or flesh or whatever, and they'll be like, yeah, we can see that this was used for running or biting or something like that, and they'll go further into it. So watch PBS Eons, kids. It's really informative.
It also looked like, speaking of T Rex, yeah, I feel bad for him. In the movies, it always looked like he had broken wrists because the hands are down forward like this.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got him like that.
But if you look at the skeletons, they're all sideways. So it looks like he's
yeah.
got broken wrists and they're always out to the side.
I was
It's
going to
really,
say it always looks like a T-Rex is trying to hug you, but it can't
Matters-
because
he's
his
always
arms are
clapping.
too short.
always clapping.
Clapping.
So,
It's the frog DNA.
The frog
and so-
DNA turned him down. Oh, also they say these are the digits of the T-Rex that survived like through its evolution. It's the thumb and your pointer finger.
So phalanges 1 and 2.
Yes. So if you ever doing a T-Rex impersonation, make sure you're using these, not these.
Now it just seems like I'm quoting somebody.
Yeah, and like in the movie when they roar, they don't think they roar. They may have like cooed or hooted.
They chirp.
if you Google an emu, that's what they think the T-Rex may have sounded like. So
No way.
Google
That-
emu. Google
That's
emu
embarrassing.
sound. Play
That's
it.
embarrassing.
Do
for
it now.
T-Rex.
Let's see if I can find an emu sound.
Emu sound effects.
Just
find
takes
one?
you to an Australian website.
Oh my! I had caps lock on, so I just typed in emu, and then it gave me Eastern
ugly,
Michigan
too.
University.
Emus are not. They're ugly.
Yeah, they are very ugly.
Didn't the Australians lose a war to them?
Yes, they did. The Australians did sadly lose a war to a bunch of birds.
Did you find emu sounds, Joey?
I thought Jimmy was looking it up.
Well, let me see.
Yeah, I looked up emu, but I should probably look up sounds after that.
People will be like, "What are they talking about in this video?" We'll see.
The sounds of the emu. All right, will you be able to hear it if I play it from here?
I feel like if you unplug your headset, we'll definitely be able to hear it then.
What was the last? Let me see. I pulled it up here, but it's it's on mute. Hold on.
Jimmy.
I didn't know if you could hear it. I'm playing it.
No.
They're making some wonky noise.
Yeah, I don't.
Are they
It's
almost
kind of like it's like a purr almost.
Yeah, so that's probably what T-Rex sounded like. Probably wasn't going around roaring, but sounded like an emu.
That's kind of cute.
T-Rex was out there purring.
That's kind of cute. I almost want a T-Rex now.
Yeah, you
I'm
want
now in favor
want a
of bringing them
T-Rex?
back. Yeah.
Just because they sound cute. What?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And,
I'm sold.
Another thing, I think they made brachiosaurs look far too large in it. Like in the opening scene where, not the opening scene, but the opening scene where Dr. Grant's introduced to the dinosaurs at the park for the first time.
Yeah, and he does the.
Yeah.
You know how in the movie you can tell that the dinosaurs were warm-blooded?
Hold on.
So you know when they're hunting the kids,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're like it breathes on like the kitchen window or breathes on a window or something. You see condensation.
Oh, yes, because it would naturally
That's
just have
interesting.
body heat then.
Yep, that's how they kind of get the idea that they might have been warm-blooded because cold, or I hate using that term, cold-blooded, but
Cold-blooded.
endothermic is because at one point they breathe on the window and you have that, you've got that steam there or whatever on the window, which a cold-blooded or ectotherm would not do.
Isn't it regularly argued that dinosaurs were mesothermic?
Yeah, that
Like-
falls in the middle. They're not
Yeah.
sure.
How do you fall in the middle?
Uh,
Like a mix, or
I'm pretty sure the simplest way to explain is like the larger the dinosaur was, I think the easier it was to retain body heat. So like the
Smaller. The smaller that they got, over time, as they become smaller, the idea was that their metabolic rate increased. So if the metabolic rate increased, they could become endothermic.
so it's just that the dinosaurs are so diverse. There's just one.
Well, think about it, right? Surface area to volume, right? You get really big,
Yeah.
whatever. It's gonna be a lot harder to regulate temperature. So the smaller, right? We won't get into laws of thermodynamics and free energy, but that idea of the smaller you're able to rate the smaller you are, the your metabolic rate would increase.
Get higher.
Um,
Yeah.
so they think Velociraptor, which was only about the size of a small turkey, it was only about 3 foot long. That's the size of a small turkey. Was able to probably regulate its body temperature.
Hmm.
So think about that turkey you might have had yesterday.
Velociraptor.
Could have been about the
Mm-mm-mm.
size of a
That'd be
small
kind of
turkey.
scary. If my cat was the size of like a velociraptor, I'd be afraid of it.
Yeah. Well, so
Well, then that would be a wild cat. That would be a lynx. You would own a lynx.
Yeah, those things are scary. I wouldn't want to roll up on one.
Velociraptor. So what is your favorite dinosaur, Jimmy than Joey?
Oh, personally, I do just like the T-Rex because I just enjoy the way that it's been portrayed. I just like the big, scary dinosaur. I don't like
Oh,
the small one as much now that I know that's what it's really like. But I
Yeah.
still am going to stick with it for nostalgia's sake.
T-Rex.
Yeah.
so I would have to say that my favorite dinosaur would actually be Raptorix, which is it's a precursor to to modern T-Rex. I don't like before T-Rex there was Raptorix, and it
Oh,
was yeah.
Joey's
I don't.
cooler because he likes the older T-Rex.
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm a dinosaur hipster.
I was always a Triceratops fan because they had like the largest skull. I think the largest
Oh,
one I
Oh
ever found
yeah,
was like
those are pretty cool.
over 8 foot long skull, but they were big old herbivores.
yeah, and that's including the whole
Yeah.
plate thing.
Well, also like in Jurassic Park, the horns were way too big. They were over exaggerated.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Those horns looked like they were 5 feet long. I think.
Yeah, and they think that the real Triceratops had like a frill that it would use to combat and then also attract mates. But anyways,
It's just more and more inaccuracies as we go on.
well, it's fine.
So,
Go ahead.
well, I think we should move on to the second film.
Okay.
Okay.
I've always been a big RoboCop and Terminator fan,
Oh
and
boy.
both of those I feel have some interesting science, to say the least.
Well, now we're
Which one
talking
do you want to
about
talk about
time
first?
travel.
RoboCop or Terminator?
I think RoboCop has less bad science, so I think we should start with RoboCop.
Is there any
Okay.
science in there?
Well, they turn RoboCop into a robot, and I feel as if there's some bad science involved there, because I'm pretty sure he like actually died, and they brought him back inside
and
of that.
he's able to retain his memory, which is I don't think that's possible.
Well, I think so. Who was it? Alex Murphy, was that his name in the movie?
Yeah, Alex Murphy.
And
He
he had
gets
what? His
shot.
brain, spinal cord. Was it his lungs, arm, face?
Yeah, nothing. It was like nothing below the diaphragm. Like he basically just got. I think his heart is still his heart, but I think he lost like his intestines and liver and all of that. I mean, he got goobered. They shot him a lot.
Yeah. So I don't know as much about that. We don't have the ability now to like to implant.
Reanimate the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what was
If
his?
Dr. Frankenstein can do it in the way
No,
back when.
What was his what?
I'm trying to think. Like, what was his skeleton made out of? I'm just kind of.
His. I don't know if he had a skeleton inside of the suit, other than like his spinal column. I think it was
Well, you
just
gotta
the
think
suit.
about all of the battery technology that would be required to, because like, what did he run on? So like the battery,
Right. I
you know what I
think
mean?
battery. I think he
So
charged.
to mimic
Just
the muscles in your torso and all those motors, let alone all of his superhuman energy,
he just had a mini nuclear reactor in his
well,
Yeah.
that's
suit.
not energy. But where's the battery at?
Yeah, they don't explain. That's part of the
So
like where are you hiding everything?
is he a green RoboCop? Does he have to like stop and recharge?
Windmill on his back.
His
Does he
whole
have to
suit's
eat?
just solar panels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of
Oh,
wondering, like,
that's remake RoboCop. Have you seen him? Because he's like dressed in all black. It's just one giant solar panel.
Well, plus his gun is I don't think it's like a regular gun, right? Isn't it like an energy weapon?
I don't think is it an energy weapon? I thought he fired at like ballistics out of it.
even if he shoots ballistics, the way his gun looks is
It yeah, it
bad
doesn't look like a
science.
gun. Yeah.
It's bad gun science. I'm gonna look up RoboCop's gun
It
just
was made
because I
like
want to make sure.
was it made like 1987? The original.
I think so. That sounds right.
I
And
think it's
then it since it's been forever since I watched RoboCop, but I did recently just rewatch the scene where they're unveiling their new like protector things in the city, and they're at a business meeting, and the protector thing or whatever, I don't know what it's called, it just shoots the guy in his office, and I don't think it's his office. I don't remember because it's been years since I watched it. But this robot is shooting this guy repeatedly. Like he gets shot at least 100 times on screen.
Oh yeah, the big robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did look up RoboCop's gun, and it's actually mostly correct, but they did this weird thing where they flatten the barrel,
Oh, they
and it
flattened the barrel.
yeah, like the barrel is flatter at one point than the other, and
Oh,
it almost looks too flat to actually send the payload through. Plus, it had a 50 round magazine.
no way. That's a
That's what it says. It's called the Auto 9. It took 9 mil.
well, and it's interesting because
yeah, especially if it's a 9 mil. There's no
Yeah.
way that's 50 round mag. No,
wasn't
no.
that set like in 2028? So hypothetically, RoboCop should be here in 8 years.
8 years, yeah. And the gun, it looks like the gun could work other than the 50 round mag because it just looks like a standard Beretta. Just like they
So
put
there
some
might
like
actually
flair.
there might be some actually, I'm sure like the military and some other places are trying to develop some kind of exoskeleton that probably like uses nano machines or nanotechnology.
Oh yeah.
I have seen
But
they have been working on like a full body like almost Iron Man suit, but it can't fly. And
Yeah.
I've also seen that they have been working on exosuits as well. The
Yeah.
military has.
I'm caught up on the fact that you can't like the whole neural tissue in the brain and
It,
being able to
yeah, because he was clearly like down for more than 3 minutes. So like he's already past that, brain damage threshold of no oxygen to the
and
brain.
also the other like doesn't he have like instant like face recognition?
Yeah, he's got like
Yes.
his
Yeah.
eyes now have scanners basically. And I don't know how they managed to do that because it's still just his eyes.
But if he can do it, imagine the bandwidth required to analyze all that data on the fly. So, like, the FBI might be able to do with 80% accuracy, and here's RoboCop able to scan all those faces.
Instantly.
The one thing I do like about RoboCop and how kind of accurate it can be is like the movement of Alex Murphy as the robot cop.
Does
Like
look like a robot,
it
yeah.
does
So,
look like a robot because that's how we really haven't advanced in robotics so much. Like they move human like he's clearly moving like a robot.
but I guess my question is: does Officer Murphy have free will? Is he ever
I
quite
think
sure? I'm
isn't
You're
just
that
like my
saying because
philosophy teacher now.
isn't
I'm sorry, but is he making decisions on what is right and wrong, or is it actually the computer implants guiding his decision actions? So that's a
I
whole nother
think
discussion.
I think that's the plot of the movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to say isn't that the main plot of the movie?
But I haven't seen a while. But does he have free will?
I don't think so. If you have the ability to like turn someone into a robot and augment their vision to where they look at everything like a robot, you've clearly got enough influence over their brain that you can just tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Joey, what do you think? I know it's the whole plot of the movie, but have you ever really discussed the idea of
I
free
would
will?
I would have to say, like, throughout the movie, he has like these flashbacks to like his wife and kid, and I feel like that's a precursor to free will. So I feel like he definitely can have free will.
And what
Like,
about the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park? They were created in a lab. We'll save that discussion for later. For those animals have free will, but
Do
uh,
animals have free will?
that's another
Wow.
that's another
That's a
discussion.
different episode.
So
PETA episode.
speaking of RoboCop and his implants, so we're assuming he still has an immune system. What prevents his body to reject those machine parts? And does he have the ability to like battle that infection? And show what protects his brain and lungs and other parts from rejecting the metal. I'm
Um,
just wondering.
isn't silver not rejected by the body?
I have no idea.
I know gold and iron are accepted by the body.
But like,
Iron's not. Iron rusts.
but like, the
It's
blood
in our
aspect.
blood.
You know, what I mean, like, does he have to get a blood transfusion all the time?
Oh yeah.
Maybe he
I mean,
just runs on like water.
I'm just
There's a car that runs on water, man.
Yeah,
major questions. Then is his free will and can he fight off infection?
I don't think so.
I think he's got free will. I don't think he can fight off infection.
No, they didn't give him an immune system. Although I
Yeah.
guess if you're gonna make that whole suit, you can just pump antibiotics in him and just
Yeah,
switch him
but
up every now
your
and then.
brain, man, you get infection in your brain. Like, can RoboCop get COVID? He's got lungs.
Oh, RoboCop can get COVID.
COVID cop.
Just
Cough,
saying.
cough.
Alex
Hey,
Murphy.
There's things there. Like, if you're going to analyze the movie,
Yeah.
right? Immune system wise. What's the other one you want to talk about?
The Terminator.
Hey, so about the Terminator, we have 7 minutes to talk about it before the meeting is over. So let's make it quick, because
Alright.
I don't have super Zoom.
The Terminator. Bad science. What's up with the guy that can turn into liquid and then just take any shape?
It's supposed to be Quicksilver, which is like mercury.
Okay.
And so I think that's the idea with that. I don't remember like with that one. The whole like I don't mind Terminator, but like the whole like traveling like different
In time.
times.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with that.
And it gets really confusing, because then like you start thinking about like every time travel paradox to ever exist, like the grandfather paradox, which is like
Yeah, when
where
Marty
you're
McFly sleeps with his mother.
where you're your own grandfather, which is
Yeah.
weird. And then there's I don't remember the names of the other ones, but it's like you kill your grandfather, but since it doesn't allow you to be born, then there's really no one to kill your grandfather.
Honestly, I like Marvel's description where they're like, it just, it is. You are already here, and you had to be here to have it happen, so you can't not exist.
Right, but there's just so many paradoxes within like just the idea of time travel in film and TV. Like they always like get it. I don't. Well, obviously, there's no science to
So then
explain
time
time
travel is the
travel.
bad science.
Time travel is the bad science. Yeah.
When we talk about Terminator, like if you go into astronomy, a Terminator is like a little less violent. It's something that divides. So like the moon is a Terminator because it has an illuminated part, has like two sides. And so, but because like I think the term Terminator comes from like the Roman god of boundaries, Terminus, but the word has like a dark side as well. But anyways, I'm saying it's like the Terminator. Think about boundaries. He does have a good and bad side, right? Kind of. He starts out. We could talk about free will there too, but just saying.
I mean,
the Terminator does not have free will. That robot is programmed.
He's here for one person and
Sarah
one person
Connor.
only.
There's another movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it where he's dropped on a. There's about free will and making decisions. I think he's dropped on a planet. He has to. I can't remember now. I'm sorry.
Terminator 2.
This is like they send people to this planet to punish them, and I can't remember what it is. But anyways, Joey, what's kind of like eating up your time here talking about nonsense? I'm sorry.
440.
All right.
All right. Well, with 440 left, I have one small, real quick question then about bad science in movies. Alien. Would the aliens look like that, or act like that?
Yeah, I don't know. Who are the aliens, anyways?
Xenomorphs. Yeah. Well, because it's the species of alien.
Is it a species? Do you know how it reproduces?
The chest bursters.
So it reproduces through a queen that lays eggs. So it's like ants almost. The queen lays eggs, but the eggs produce face huggers.
I'd go more towards birds than if it's laying eggs.
Well, no. So the queen. So now the queen lays eggs, and the eggs produce face huggers, and then the face huggers latch onto a host, and then the face hugger, so the face hugger like almost
so they're like
impregnates
frogs.
the host, and then a chest burster comes out and it kills the person that it was inside feeding on their insides or whatever.
So they morph like a frog.
Those are not my kind of like bad science films, but
Oh, you
I
think that's good science? You
No,
think
it's not good
alien?
science. It's not good science at all.
Oh, I
it's
wasn't sure.
it's a crazy life form, let me tell you.
Yeah, because there are a lot of like bad science, like that they try to like people probably think that are real, like especially like zombies, right? There's always bad science in zombie movies. There's always bad
Yeah,
science in every kind of pandemic movie.
yeah.
So unfortunately, people want to kind of believe that to like justify what they're doing. I think at times, but that again, that's a whole other discussion.
Whew.
You know,
Wow.
and that people that make movies, do they have a responsibility to try to portray the science as being accurate, or do they just want to make more money? Well, of course they want to make more money.
Yeah, they want to make more money, and it's not like they have like degrees in biology. They have their degrees in like marketing and
Well,
Yeah.
think
like
about Jack Horner. You know, he's in charge of the Museum of the Rockies, and he had to change up some of the science so it would, for Spielberg. Would say no to Steven Spielberg? No.
no.
Honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with bending the science a little. Now,
You killed him. You
now
killed Monsour.
for movie's sake, because if you get really interested, like sometimes a movie can spark an interest, and then you'll look into it after that.
Okay. Okay.
Like with
Because
Star Wars and lightsabers, like a
we'll back
lightsaber
out.
would not be able to like clash with another lightsaber. Like they would just go through each other.
Well, like
'Cause
we
they're made
talked
out
about
of
last
plasma.
like when we talked about last year at the beginning of pandemic, it'll be interesting to see. We may have talked about this during like one of the first podcasts. What kind of movies are going to be coming out here pretty soon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how COVID is portrayed and if it's accurate, because as we know, there's a lot of the deception of misinformation and that
A
kind
lot
of
of
stuff.
bad science in the real world
All
lately.
right.
All right, Joe, we got less than a minute.
Yeah, we got less than a minute. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you're staying safe out there, and I hope that you're having a good time, but not too good of a time with too many people. Stay safe.
Keep it under 10.
Keep it
Stay
under
safe.
10. Have a good Thanksgiving weekend sort of deal. I love you guys.
Yes. Love you too.
Yeah,
Thank you for being
bye.
here, Mr. Monsour.
No problem.